What if I told you that all of our fail safes, all of our securities to protect us against tyranny have failed? Your religion has failed. Your courts have failed. Your constitution has failed. Your politicians have failed. Everything has failed. What now? How will you maintain your dignity? Will you resist? Under the shadow of Nazi occupation, the people of France refused to surrender their dignity. They fought back, not just with weapons, but with words, sabotage, deceptions, and solidarity. They resisted. And today, in the face of rising authoritarianism, we have to learn from them. We have to find lessons in the past. Resistance isn't just for history books, it's for right now. Section 1, Undermining the Machine. The Nazis relied on France's economy to fuel their war, but French workers had another plan. Railway workers derailed trains, cut communication lines, and destroyed bridges, disrupting troop movements and supply chains. We can find modern parallels today. Support worker strikes and boycotts. Stand in solidarity with striking workers fighting against exploitation, like Amazon and Starbucks employees demanding better conditions. We're going to see much more of this, more strikes happening or people trying to unionize because the conditions are sinking. People aren't able to stay safe at work, and they're being replaced by robots and AI. Support workers. Don't forget, workers don't need capitalists, but capitalists need workers. Disrupt oppressive systems. If your employer enforces unethical policies, slow compliance. Refuse unpaid overtime, report violations, or work to rule. Workers need to take charge. You are necessary. Your compliance is necessary for authoritarians to win. Divest from harmful companies. This is one of the hardest ones, right? It seems like we need certain companies, but I'm trying to divest from every company that stood in that inauguration. I'm trying to I'm trying to take out any money that I'm giving to these. I'm calling for a general boycott. Buy as little as possible. Try to conserve. Put conserve back into conservative. I'm drinking way less coffee because I don't want to buy any coffee. I want to try to buy zero. I'm trying to get down to the point where I'm not buying anything from any of these capitalists. I don't want to support oligarchs. Research where your money goes. Withdraw from banks funding authoritarian regimes. Stop using platforms that sell user data and refuse to support brands that exploit labor. Section 2, the power of information. The Nazis controlled the press, but the resistance fought back with truth. Today, lots of newspapers seem like billionaire blogs, and independent press is being ostracized, cut out, or eliminated completely. Jean Moulin and resistance leaders ran illegal printing presses, spreading uncensored news that fueled defiance. This was incredible. Paper was limited, ink was controlled, and yet still they were able to create a shadow press. Today, it's so much easier. You don't need to sneak with ink in the middle of the night or try to conserve paper and save it so that you can make newsletter to explain how to resist. You don't have to do that anymore. You can use their networks against them. Support independent media. Subscribe to investigative outlets like ProPublica, The Intercept, or Democracy Now! They expose corruption, and we need more of that. Combat disinformation. This is tough. You got to fact check, report the false narratives. When you find a lie, talk about it. Tell people about the lies that you find. Be vigilant. Whether from a state propaganda or conspiracy groups spreading hate, you'll see a lot of it. You can't get away from it these days. So keep on finding out those lies and reporting them when you find them. Don't just hold that to yourself because other people need to know. We are living in a time where hate and lies spread faster than truth. It takes a while for truth to catch up. So when you uncover truths, it's your duty to share them. Use secure communications. Just as the resistance used coded messages, today's activists rely on encrypted apps like Signal to organize safely. I use Signal. I don't like to use any of the other ones. I am a big proponent of encrypted chat. Section 3, defiance in everyday life. Not every act of resistance was about sabotage. Sometimes defiance was as simple as just saying no, resisting. I prefer not to. Be like Bartleby. Across France, people painted the letter V for victory all over walls, doors, and Nazi propaganda. If they saw Nazi propaganda, they put a V on top of it to let them know that we're not buying. It was a simple act, but it reminded people resistance is everywhere. It reminds the ruling class that resistance is everywhere. That V changed the way people saw how it was going, made them think twice. We need that to constantly undermine what's happening, undermine authoritarians, make resistance visible. Okay, so here's some things we can do today. Wear symbols of protest like the Belarus opposition's white and red colors, or a keffiyeh to support the Palestinian rights. There's lots of things you can do if you don't subscribe to either of those ways of thinking. I wear something that says don't panic. I often wear animal rights gear when I go out because I want people to know that I am not okay with what's going on. I'm not all right with it. I have a hat that I wear that says question authority. I want to remind people constantly that you must be questioning authority, challenging the status quo. Reclaim public spaces. Post flyers, project messages onto buildings, use chalk, street art to spread awareness about oppression. Chalktivism is very powerful. You can put chalk all over anything and you're not going to get arrested. But you can also go a little bit more hardcore, and graffiti works. It helps people see what's going on. Graffiti is the language of the street. Use it for something. And if you don't like to do that, then print out some stuff and leave it in bathrooms. Print out stuff and leave it in places where other people are going to be, with a message, freedom and resistance. I think stickers are great for this. Put stickers on things. Get some slap stickers. Get some made. They're very cheap. Put them on stuff. Refuse to normalize injustice. If a coworker spreads racist or authoritarian rhetoric, call it out, because silence enables oppression. Section 4, helping others resist. The French resistance didn't just fight, they saved lives. People risked everything to create escape routes, hide families, and protect those targeted by the regime. It takes a village to resist. Support refugees and the persecuted. Donate to legal defense funds for asylum seekers like the International Rescue Committee, or RAICES. Sometimes it's hard to support refugees, but you could help just by spreading information. If you find out that there's an ICE raid, or you find out where La Migra is going to be, then you let people know. You stall them. You let people escape. You help the ones being hunted. Be a safe haven. If you're in a position of privilege, offer shelter, job referrals, or resources to those being targeted. From political dissidents to LGBTQ+, these people are in hostile areas much of the time. They need friends. They need people looking out for them. If you have that privilege, please offer it to others. Document and expose injustices. Record police brutality. When you see a cop doing something, don't record the person who's being persecuted, record the cop. You need to always be recording police. If you see a policeman, pull out a phone and start recording. They need to know that we're watching. It is your right to record the police. You don't have to engage. Just pull out a phone and tape them. Detention center abuses. You might not be the person who gets to see that, but if you see detention center abuses, share it. Use your social media. Any human rights violations, you should be sharing those, letting people know this is what's going on. Whistleblowers and citizen journalists save lives. You have to be the media. Section 5, sabotaging modern authoritarianism. The Nazi war machine relied on compliance. Today's authoritarian systems, they do too. Resistance means refusing to play along. Sometimes not being complicit in the crime is all you have to do. Today, you're able to opt out of surveillance. Opt out every time you can. Opt out of that surveillance. Use privacy-focused browsers like Brave, refuse facial recognition tech, and encrypt your devices. Take that extra step. Resist digital censorship. If independent journalists are being deplatformed, share their content through decentralized networks. Signal is great again for this. Start sharing with your own Signal chats. Get it out there. If it's being censored someplace else, share it on your Facebook, share it where you can. If you know that people are being marginalized and you can see them being shut down by the powers that be, it's your job to get that message out there. Non cooperation with authoritarian policies. If you're in a position of power, refuse to enforce unjust laws. Morality is not the same thing as legality. Like teachers resisting book bans or government workers leaking corruption, you can make a huge difference. You can leak, you can whistleblow, you can simply refuse, resist. Closing message, a call to action. The French resistance wasn't made of superheroes. They just seem that way with their berets. They look all cool and everything. It was made of ordinary people who chose to resist. Today we face different threats, but the lesson is the same. Authoritarianism thrives on obedience, so disobey. The fight isn't over, but neither is the resistance. Be the revolution. Question authority. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Like and subscribe.